Are you ready to turn your investments into retirement income? Listen in as Jeremy Keil and his guests reveal ways you can make smarter retirement, investment, and tax planning decisions to achieve your ideal retirement. You will learn more about your money so you can feel better about your money and make better money decisions. Now, on to the show.
Welcome to Retirement Revealed. I'm your host, Jeremy Keil, and we're here to turn your retirement savings into a consistent income. And today we have Kris Kiefer with us. He is the owner at Castle Senior Living right here in New Berlin. Kris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known you for quite some time, actually. Family members of mine have gone to high school with you and family members, so it goes way back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we've golfed together too, and I'm sure you beat me.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome. Well, so Kris owns Castle Senior Living. You look at their website, it says independent living, assisted living, memory care, and we're part of the series right now talking about legacy, end-of-life issues, and obviously different levels of senior living is a big deal. And maybe could you help us out, just define those different terms, the independent living, assisted living, memory care, things like that?
Yeah, there's several options. So independent living is just that, independent living. It's really for seniors 55 and older. There really is not a lot of services offered in independent living. It's just like going and rent an apartment. But the good thing is with that is that you are around, other individuals your age that you can hang out with, do some activities together with. But there's not a lot of support there for if you need some help with any type of care or medication or meals or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So if you do need any assistance with that, then you want to look at assisted living. And within assisted living, there are RCACs, so residential care apartment complexes. And that's an apartment complex that does offer some light assistance. So with meals, medications, some light care assistance. But they are limited on what they can offer. The next level is called a CBRF, community-based residential facility. And they can offer a little bit more care. And so if you do need help with, like I mentioned, meals, medications, any type of care assistance with dressing or bathing or doing structured activities, then the CBRF is a good fit. Also provides an opportunity to do more advanced care and memory care as well. So those are kind of the different facilities, different licensures between independent living, assisted living, and memory care. And then further along, we don't provide, but it is in the community, is a skilled nursing facility that a lot of people know as well. So
yeah, that's more like the nursing home. When you hear people say, I don't want to go to the nursing home, like that's what you're talking about.
That's what it is. And a lot of nursing homes do have a rehab component to it. A lot of them are Medicare certified to do short-term rehab. So if mom or dad has a fall at home, then a lot of times they go to the hospital, they need some short-term rehab, then they'd go to a skilled nursing facility and do that rehab there, and then either go back home or look for an assisted living from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hear that a lot, especially people have questions about Medicare, what Medicare covers, things like that. The way I approach it, when people ask, well, does Medicare cover this nursing home? My thought is, well, if they expect you to get out of the nursing home, then Medicare might be helping out with there. If they expect you to be in the nursing home kind of to the end of your life, then it's private pay or perhaps looking at government things like Medicaid, things like that. Does that sound like an accurate description?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, Medicare usually covers only short-term stays. So it'll cover a certain period of time until you can rehab back to where you need to be. And it definitely is situational. So depending on what your situation is and what you're going in there for, Medicare covers different lengths of stay a little bit for that. So
gotcha. Well, that was helpful, just hearing the different types. Everyone just assumes it's kind of like you're at home and you go to nursing home and there's no in between, but there's just huge amounts of in between. There's even in between where you can get care in your home on there. So it's just
absolutely
amazing. Yeah,
there are a lot of options there for you. Yeah, in-home care is definitely an option. And then, like we mentioned, there's independent living, assisted living, memory care. There's a lot of different options, and then a lot of different sizes too, and different types of facilities out there, different types of communities. So if you've probably seen them, large facilities, medium, small. So a lot of different options for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw actually the person we had on last week talking about in the podcast, she has on her website that the population of people 65 and older is going up by 85% in the next 20 years. So clearly this is a big deal. A lot more people are going to be needing some level of care, even just independent living. We've got a few people who are, I'm just thinking of one widow in particular right now, so you're in your family home, your husband passes away, and now all of a sudden your normal social life, your structure, how you live your life is completely different. And she finally was convinced to go to independent living from her kids. She loves it there. They're having trips. She's meeting other people that are in similar situations. It's, you finally have some things to look forward to again. It's kind of a nice Kickstarter to her social life.
Yeah, it is. That's the advantage of it. So a lot of people say, I'm just going to live in my home for the rest of my life, and that's it. And they don't think of other options, and they don't want to think. Some people are pretty stubborn that way. But if you think about it, yeah, community setting is just that. It gives them an opportunity to meet other people, to be social again, and to do different activities, go different places, and enjoy friends and develop other relationships that you may not have at home or have the opportunity to. So
yeah, it's big helps with. It's nice to look into it to see what's out there, to see how you can have a different lifestyle that might be more conducive to even being safe. A lot of people that have lived in their homes for quite some time, the codes might not have been there in the building 40 years ago or 80 years ago whenever the house got built. So a lot of times these communities have to keep up with the codes, and so it's going to be just a safer environment for mom or dad or for yourself, whoever's looking at it. Yeah,
and a lot of people try to retrofit their own home. They come in and they redo their bathroom or put a ramp outside, and that's okay, and that can definitely work in some situations. But yeah, we already have it built where it's handicap accessible, and we've put grab bars in, and the environment's set up that way. But it really, the advantage that we offer as an assisted living and a community is the community, the social aspect, is just being around other people. It's comforting.
Yeah.
That you have caregivers that help take care of you, and you have nursing staff that help oversee your care, and having organized activities just brings more structure to their life and brings more joy.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about small facilities, larger communities, things like that. You've got an interesting situation. You have, I think, even homes in the community. Like you're just walking down the street and there's a family living here, a couple living here, and then here's a senior living home right there in the community. What's that like?
Yeah, we do offer smaller settings like that. It's like a real home-like setting. So we have a group of 8 residents that live in a home together, and it just makes the transition a lot easier if mom or dad is living at home and they need to move into a community. It gives a nice option that this is just like home.
Right. I mean,
just like home. You have your living room, your dining room, your kitchen, and you can come and go. You can help out just like you did at home, and go outside and do planting and become engaged. Just have the support of other people and care staff with you.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like that. That was the first time I ever heard things like that, where that's kind of where things started. Maybe even if you could talk about that. You got a pretty cool story of how you and your family started this business years ago by bringing people into your own home, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, really unique experience growing up. So my brother and I were like 10 and 12 years old, and our parents brought in seniors in our own home and licensed our home as an adult family home, which you could have up to 4 other people. And talk about a great experience growing up. It really taught us how much of an impact we have on other people's lives, just doing simple things like helping with meals and engage in conversation, helping clean the room. It just makes a big difference in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you've just expanded on to all these other homes that are within the neighborhoods, and you've got a place in McGuanago, I believe, and now you just built and opened a place in New Berlin. Yeah,
we did. The Grand Hills Castle right on Cleveland Avenue, 130th in Cleveland. It's a beautiful setting. We designed it to be big enough to offer a lot of great amenities and programs, and yet small enough to feel like, we're all family and we know everybody's name, and it's great culture. Big enough to residents can walk around and get engaged and feel like they're not cooped up, but yet but yeah, it is small enough again to know everybody and have some fun. So
we even set up like a Main Street in the middle, kind of with like the barber shop and all.
Yeah, we did. We have we have a barber shop. We have a spa area. We have a rehab workout fitness room. We have a game room, a little chapel in there, and a piano lounge that I like to go and play the piano there.
That's what I was going to ask about. I see a piano in there, and I think you're kind of the rock star of the place.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. We go in there and jam out for a good hour and do some sing-alongs and get the residents dancing a little bit, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, sure. I like it, how you mentioned the singing part of it in the songs. We've got someone on our podcast, Marty Schreiber, who's a former governor of Wisconsin, and he talks about how he's been caring for his wife for 18 years now with Alzheimer's. And one of the, obviously, your memories decline and get worse and worse to the point where you maybe just don't have much memory of even your own husband, your own kids. But he would sing to her, and she would sing along. And it's just amazing that here's somebody that, and there's videos online of different news stations that have shown this, where she just is singing along, and you could see her eyes light up, how somehow music just connects with people, even in a point where they've lost other memories, it just brings them back. That's awesome.
Yeah, with memory care, we actually created a program called the Smile to Remember program. And it's a way to train our staff, but it's really has 7 core principles, and it's really a way to keep our residents happy, engaged, and smiling. And that's what it's all about, is to do little things like that, music, and get them smiling, engaged, and singing along. And you'd be surprised, some residents have some memory issues and dementia, Alzheimer's. They still like to enjoy the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like a community. Sometimes you hear the term facility, but it's definitely a community aspect, which is really what people ought to be looking for if they're looking for a place for themselves or a place for mom.
Yeah, I like to say, like, our culture is really important to us, and we're a family company, we're local, and that's what really sets us apart from others. It's a lot of different companies out there, a lot of different assisted living facilities the owners are out of state, they're managed. Big corporations, and we're local, we're family orientated, and that's our culture. Just supportive, friendly, nice people.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if someone were to come and take a tour of your communities, or maybe just any of them in general, can you give us some ideas, some questions people should be asking? How can they figure out what's right for them? What questions should they be asking on a tour?
Yeah, great point. And we talked about this before. It's really important to plan ahead, right? Because so many people are in a position where, mom or dad has a crisis. They go in the hospital and they have to find a place within a couple days. And it's nice to try to look ahead and try to plan a little bit on, okay, if mom or dad are in this situation, what are my options? And what places can I tour? How can I educate myself a little bit more about what's out there? What are our options? So a couple questions I like to look at is the 3 C's, I say. So cost is important. What type of facility, what type of a community can you afford? What are options out there? So cost, it does come down to cost a lot. So if you don't have a lot of funds, if you're on the family care program or state-funded program, there are locations. We have locations that offer that opportunity. You could come right in with that type of financing.
Gotcha.
So other communities, you have to pay a few years. You have to have private funds for a few years. So that's important. Comfort is another thing to look at. So looking at the environment, is it clean? Is it comfortable? Where's my mom and dad going to stay? Where are they going to sleep? How close is the bathroom? That type of thing it's important to know. Is it bright? Is it cheerful? How's the feeling of the environment? And then the last one is care, right? Care is really an important aspect. That's why you're moving into a community, because mom or dad needs some support. So how does the care look? How's the longevity of the staff? How's the training program? The staffing patterns? The nursing oversight? How are the meals, the activities? You can also look at the previous state inspections as well. how's the facility holding up from a state standpoint. So
yeah, and that information's out there.
Yeah, it is.
I guess, how could they find that? How would you find a state inspection report?
It's usually posted at the community level, so you can just ask right there when you're touring.
Yeah.
Can we see your last survey?
There you go.
You can also look it up online. So, so the state has a website. You can look up different communities and how their survey went. So
yeah, we'll find that. We'll find that direct link to the website so people can find that. But probably worthwhile to just ask them directly if they're dodging the question. Then that might give you give you some thoughts right there. But if they say absolutely, here it is, ready to go, we have it printed out, then they're proud of the way that they take care of their clients, their community members. Yeah. Good. Well, you mentioned some training you do even on your website. You have a lot of training that you put on your website for people that aren't even employed by your company to come out and get trained. Tell me about that, and maybe even why you have it set up that you're willing to train people that aren't even your employees. How's that work out?
Yeah, so we're passionate about education, and we want to be a leader in training caregivers and other people in the community to care for seniors, and that's what we've been doing for forever, and we want to continue that and be the best at it. So we developed this training academy, we call it, and we offer trainings, different types of training. So they could be state certified in medication administration, standard precautions, fire safety, choking and first aid. We also do dementia specific training as well. So our trainers dementia certified, so we train on that. And then we incorporate those things in our orientation as well. So when staff are hired on, we do a pretty thorough job with training orientation and spend a lot of time just on the front end to make sure that the employee, the caregiver, has a good experience. They know what they're doing, and when they hit the floor, that they have that education to pull from.
And you say caregiver, a lot of times the caregiver is a family member, and it might be a son or a daughter, a niece or nephew, and they're taking care of their relative, but they have zero training. I'm just wondering, could someone like that, someone who's a caregiver, that's not an employee, that's not like getting paid to caregive, could they come out and just learn some more from you guys? Yeah,
absolutely. That's welcome. We love that. Yeah. So anybody who's caring for their mom or dad or just wants some education, come on out and sign up for the class. Yeah. We offer them pretty regularly. Just come on our website, sign up, and come check it out and educate yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea. A lot of people, just because maybe grandma was in their home 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and now something's happening to their mom or dad and they feel like an obligation, or maybe it's a financial thing where they say, I've got to take care of my relative. They have zero training on that, and they're taking the time, they're taking the effort, they're probably even losing money from their own job or paying for things that they weren't paying for before. I think it'd be a great idea just to say, well, go get a little bit of training from professionals, people that care enough to offer this. That'd be a great way to help people out in your home or however the situation is. Yeah, our dementia training goes into how to handle challenging behaviors, right? Yeah, because it's different. It's a different view of life, unfortunately, and the behaviors are different. And so how do you respond to that? It's got to be a big deal. Yeah, so when they have behavioral changes, it's important that the family understand why they're having those changes, and then can respond to them appropriately. Yeah, that's just going to make the entire situation better for the caregiver, better for the patient, I suppose, is a way to phrase it. So yeah, like I said, you want to try to keep the resident in a happy state of mind. For sure. And so it's important to have that approach. Definitely. Right? So otherwise you can get in a situation where you're arguing or yelling back and forth, and it just escalates into behaviors and problems. So yeah. Getting that training off the bat helps, keep that at bay and keep the relationship strong. Absolutely. Good. Well, before we finish up here, I think there's somewhat of an elephant in the room when it comes to senior living communities and nursing homes the last 18 months, and especially way back at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, just a connection between COVID and nursing homes especially was just not good. I don't believe. Can you just talk more about that? How has this whole situation changed senior living communities? Yeah, so I think with COVID, obviously everybody was impacted, right? Not only our industry, but every industry was impacted, and
a lot of people had fears with how they're going to be affected by it. Senior living in particular, because we have a vulnerable population, obviously. The good thing is that we did have precautions in place to help mitigate the risks, and our communities did really well with COVID.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
So I credit that to my team I have in place. Did a great job with mitigating the risk, following all the protocols to help prevent that. I know a lot of family members had a hard time, and understandably, we had restrictions in place, no visitation for a while, but we did adapt to that. We did a lot of video visitations, window visits, those type of things, and I know it was nerve-wracking for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But through the time, they still had an opportunity to take their loved one out in the community if they wanted to. They still were allowed to, by right, to go out. So they could leave the location for a little while and then come back. So it wasn't a total situation where they couldn't do anything.
Right.
And
you hear about in the news like these lockdowns and things like that. And it's a tough spot to be in. You've got to keep the health of the entire community, and at the same time, there's an individual there that wants to see their family members, wants to stay healthy themselves. So it's great to hear that you guys did well in your own facilities. It's great that you are taking all those precautions, and hopefully the rest of the senior living industry is doing the same.
It is. One thing to say is if you get a cold or you get sick at home, who's going to help take care of you? And personally, if you get sick, it's miserable. So in a community, you do have other staff around that can help. They can bring you food, bring you fluids and help keep track of how you're doing. We have a nurse that's available that follows up and make sure that you get your medications, you get your fluids, your food, and you're doing well, and communicates with the physician, and you get that individualized care.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be said about that. Also with activities, our activity program, it did change, but it kept going.
Right.
We were able to do a little more one-on-one activities, and so it didn't completely stop.
Yep.
And so I think a lot of people thought that, you hear the news stories of these residents and I'm sure this happened in some cases where residents were completely isolated and didn't have anybody, but in the majority of the communities, we had each other. The care staff were still there, and we were still creating conversation and trying to have a good time doing creative activities within the community, and all the meals were. And the moment we were locked down, the meals were brought to the residents' rooms. So, room service with the meals, individual activities, and socialization with the care staff. And so we were able to keep that going, and, brought some joy to the residents.
For sure.
As much as we could. So it was definitely a hard time, but things have opened up since.
Absolutely.
Now we're able to have visitors. We're able to have a little more freedom and do what we like, and have more group activities and that type of thing. And again, just trying to have a good time, trying to enjoy the life in the community, and keep those moments going to keep our residents happy and safe and comfortable.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and just you think through, it's not just, okay, you're in a community with a lot of other people, and maybe that's a dangerous situation for COVID. You live at home, you got to get your food from somewhere. You're going to the grocery store, especially early on. People had a lot of fear around going to the grocery store, and you hear all kinds of reports about how the isolation is just a horrible thing for people in general, and especially as you get older. So here you are in a senior living community where you're bringing the food to the residents. They don't have to worry about going to the grocery store, and they're socializing with each other. They don't have to worry about that. Or you're thinking through of, they might not have been using video calls as much as they were all of a sudden in COVID. And next thing you know, you've got staff that can help you out with making that video call, so they can still keep in touch with their kids and their grandkids, things that might not have been able to happen at home. So that's just good. You got to keep in mind the community aspect and how just working together is a big help for everybody.
So yeah, there's a lot of fear generated by community living, and assisted living, and we just want to reassure people that we got the care, we've got the support there, and the education training to minimize the risk and still emphasize having a good time and
Right.
and enjoying each day. So we be creative and we do things to help that.
Definitely. Good. Well, if you're somebody out there that's needing some level of support and actually wants to work with people that are well-trained, that are family atmosphere, that are caring about the residents, how can people get a hold of you guys?
Sure. Go on our website, castlewi.com. Give us a call, 262-333-9043. We're happy to help, happy to give you a tour, talk about what your needs are, and help you out there.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. Yeah, it's been fun watching you and your company grow and helping more and more people over the last few years. I've been to one of your communities, the new one in New Berlin, and I can tell you they got great food and the piano sounds great, especially if Kris is on the keys. So it's good.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Good. Well, thanks, Kris, for coming on out. And thank you to everyone else for listening to the Retirement Revealed podcast. We believe if you know more about your money, you will feel better about your money and you'll make better money decisions.
Thank you for listening to the Retirement Revealed podcast. Click on the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit retirement-revealed.com to learn more. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Keil Financial Partners. Keil Financial Partners does not provide legal, accounting, or tax advice. Consult your attorney or tax professional. Representatives have general knowledge of the Social Security tenets. For complete details on your situation, contact the Social Security Administration. Keil Financial Partners is a part of the Thrivent Advisor Network, a registered investment advisor. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.